Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm just going to preface this podcast by saying not everybody's going to agree with this. And this has nothing to do with politics, religion, anything like that. This is about you and your life, your daily life. The choice you have when life is throwing you the lemons or you're in the face of adversity and you're throwing your hands up like, why me? Why me? That's on you. But I didn't do it. They did it to me. That's on you. You had a choice. You have a choice. Let's start there today. He is an accelerated healing specialist, uses all different modalities, acupuncture, hypnotherapy. He's a life coach. He's an intuitive. And so much insight comes from our professional of the year. Distefano is back with us. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you. How are you doing, Steve?
I have a choice to say I'm doing well.
Excellent.
Now, am I being truthful? Yes. Do I have a lot of things going on, even on the personal side, even at this very moment? Yes. How I react to that ultimately is my choice. I don't know if you agree with that. Your choice. Do you think that's how we all roll? We have a choice, even when life sucks. We have a choice.
I'm going to go a couple steps further. We always have a choice. If I want to play the victim card, why is this happening to me? It will always keep happening because I'm refusing the growth. I'm resisting it. I was literally right before this on a call. There were two women. One of them had colon cancer and was going through all sorts of difficulties in her life. Healed herself because she had to go into what she was holding back. Her body, in order to heal, she had to pay attention to the lessons that were hiding underneath. Another woman had told me a story prior where she had learned essentially basic self-hypnosis, and every day in every way I'm getting better and better. And she would put herself into the trances, and she was going through autoimmune and other conditions. She was able to heal herself. Now, and I have a history of depression. I know what it's like to wake up every morning and not want to wake up and just want to go back to sleep and know that everything ahead of me is horrible. Believe it or not, after the fact, I could tell you that's all a choice because the rational mind was locking me into this is all that's possible. The rational mind does not have a complete data set. Once I realized the choice, like now, if I wake up and I feel less than I should, yeah, if there's stuff happening, I'm not a Pollyanna, but I'm also going to pay attention. I'm going to look at some flowers. They raise my vibration. I'll look at some birds. I'll pay attention to all the gifts that I have in my life. I'll be present for interactions, not in my head, because that wavelength, that determination, let's say I meet a new person, and that person could be my new best friend, or that person could be nothing because I walk into it like a wet mop. That person could be the best person I've ever met in my life. But what determines that is my attitude going in. I have trillions of cells in my body. I walk around with a cloud over my head. I just gave them all lousy weather. And then I complain my body doesn't feel good. That's my choice.
So how about we role play?
Well, that's your idea, Steve. I'll take
it. I'm on the other side of that. And I'm not saying I believe in this, but this is what somebody and people have said to me based on what you said. So you're saying, come on, Chris, smelling some flowers, touching a tree. Do you realize what I got going on over here? How is that even going to come on. How's that going to make a difference and make me feel better? And how is that going to happen?
Literally had this conversation with a patient yesterday. Because whatever's happening in your life right now, let's go with you have a sick dog and that's bringing you down. It's really hard to see something you love suffering. It's like losing, it's a family member. And what I say to you is, does your dog want you to feel like crap? Are you making anyone better by walking around feeling like crap? Are you giving anything to the world, or are you just your dog is sick, you come home and you're a miserable sot? That's actually worse for the dog too. How are you going to bring the most value into your own life? Again, we can all run a pity party. Each one of us, even the people that are doing well, that are happy, could run a pity party if they elected to. Being happy is work, especially initially. We have those habits of that negative self-talk, those habits of that self-defeating. We don't have self-love. We don't have compassion for ourselves. And we have bad habits. Make better ones.
But Chris, I agree with you, but here's the other side. But Chris, I've been on meds for 20 years for depression. Nothing works. I've tried everything. And you don't understand. You just don't get it. This is my life, and just this is the way it's going to be.
You're absolutely right, Steve. You've tried everything by coloring inside the lines. And how's that working out for you?
I'm still depressed.
Exactly. So, do you want to be depressed or not depressed? That's the real question. Would you like to not be depressed?
Of course,
Okay. Are you exercising?
a little bit.
Have you done your own research?
On what?
Depression.
Yeah, I've Googled it. Sure. I know about it.
Yeah. So, do a little more research. There's nutritional and lifestyle choices that could help push you into feeling better, including regular exercise habits. That's the most effective, proven way to get the depression lifted.
That's not going to change everything, though, right?
Have you tried it?
No,
What's stopping you?
I'm depressed.
Exactly. And that's the hardest step to take, is that step to move into action. Set a reasonable goal, maybe a 10-minute walk to start out, but commit to that every day. Also, look at what you're eating. If you're eating badly, your brain's getting bad chemicals. And if you've been seeing the same doctor giving you the same medication, you may want to consider seeing a different doctor, because obviously you've stagnated and plateaued. So perhaps different intervention would be exceptional for lifting the depression.
So I've heard these podcasts before, Chris.
Yeah.
And what I'm taking away from this is if I think in a different way, I'm going to feel a different way. But after all these years, it's hard for me to believe that.
And that's exactly the loop that you're in. It's, catch 22 or a vicious cycle. Your thoughts are limiting your ability to get out of that loop of thoughts. For a lot of people, and this is one of the hardest steps, if you could find your faith. I have a lot of people who've gone through or are going through the 12-step program. I actually spoke with a patient the other day who has a history of depression, and it recently lifted, and he's going through it all right now. And he goes to meetings multiple times a week, and we discussed whether or not he would start drinking again if he didn't go to meetings. Most likely not. So then we established he's no longer going to meetings for himself. Now he's going to meetings to help lift other people up. So he's shifted into altruism, which has then lifted him up and made him even happier because he is operating from service. When we connect to a higher purpose beyond just us, loving ourselves enough to be able to give fully, that actually lifts depression. Altruism lifts depression.
So Steve's back. Everything I said to you in our role play moment is things I've heard from people I know and I'm close to. And what you're saying, I've said to them because I believe them. I've heard them from you in previous podcasts. I've experienced them in my journey. I've researched them, looked deep into it. So that's where they came from. And I'm not minimizing anything for anybody and struggles and challenges or anything like that. I was just repeating things that I hear.
Yeah.
Now, when we are of service to somebody else, whether you volunteer, you help somebody, you help an organization, this is not scientific. This is just kind of get a barometer on it. Let's say we're coming up with a treatment plan for somebody to move their life forward. Maybe they're dealing with some depression. They have challenges. They have that addicted to suffering mindset. They're in the victim mode. Helping others, scale of 1 to 10, or even percentage. up to 100%. Where would you put that in your opinion of how it could, and everybody's different, every situation's different. This is not scientific. Where would you put that? I'm genuinely curious. I believe in it fully, but I'm curious.
Truth be told, if it's authentic, it's honestly, if it becomes something real and authentic, it's 9 or 10. It's that simple. Like, my work rewards me because I am at a high level of service. I'm helping people with because I know this is why I'm here. Thanksgiving was amazing because I hope yours was good.
It was good. It was quiet, and that's good.
Because after Thanksgiving, I stopped at a gas station because I had to get gas and pay for some stuff. So I go into the gas station. This woman in front of me in line has her cards get declined. 2 cards, insufficient balance, $25 worth of stuff. I'm paying in cash. I open my wallet. I have a few bills in there. So I pay for my stuff and I just tell the cashier, take care of her too. And because this woman was having a very bad day on my favorite day of the year, on a day based on, and so I was thrown a softball to be able to help a person. And she was so flustered going through her purse. So the guy behind the register says he just paid for your stuff. She doesn't even know what he said. I'm already mostly out the door. I just say happy Thanksgiving and leave. So it was completely anonymous. And now I'm telling people, but I'm not telling, it's just, the feeling was that I was doing something. It felt very good for me.
Yep.
To be able to help someone that needed it in a way, real time. So that immediately raises our mood. Immediately. Because that is, biologically, that's one of the most important things we could do. We could support our community because our community supports us. Biologically, foundationally, that's what we are. So it's super powerful.
I agree. And as you're giving us insight, my brain is going through, I'm not even trying, but all those times where I did a little something. And I still remember, this is probably 4 months ago, I was at a convenience store buying a cup of coffee. Woman in front of me pays for my coffee. Now, got to be honest, she didn't look like she was well off or anything like that. And I'm like, ma'am, you don't have to do that. It's okay. She goes, no, I want to. And I looked her in the eye and I said, I will pay it forward times 5, if not more. And I promise you. And I waited a day and I waited 2 for the right moment. And I found that moment where I did. And I still remember that. I remember 2 years ago, I was in a grocery store and a woman's on a little scooter and she's trying to reach for something in the frozen food aisle and she can't get to it. I did a sprint jumping over things. Just so I'd be there. I'm here. Happy to help you out. What do you need? Frozen peas. Got it right there. What else? What else can I do for you? Be my honor. I would love to. She goes, no, I'm good. I got it, but I really appreciate it. I could tell you where it was, the store, the time, everything, because it resonated so much with me. Little tiny thing, but I still remember.
You get on an airplane. There's a woman who's 5 foot nothing, 80 pounds soaking wet with a bag the size of Utah. Just sort of without even thinking, well, I'll just put it there for you. You just put the bag up because that's the most natural thing for us to do. And it was amazing in the gas station. The woman was like, after she had trouble, she's like, just ring them up ahead of me. And the cashier's like, I'll have to ring you up again. She's like, that's okay. So like literally the world threw me a softball to help someone. Like this woman was obviously kind. She was like, this was the easiest good deed I've ever done.
Yeah.
I'd have been a damn fool to miss that opportunity. I got more out of it than anyone else.
You know what? I just got a download from what you just said. And that is, we should look for the opportunity to help others. We're all in our little zone, our little bubble. We're, on our phone, busy. Da, la, 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 la. Look for the opportunity. You'll find it, and you'll make yourself feel better.
Yeah, like how many times I go to the supermarket, person behind me has 1 item, I have 12. I'm just like,
Totally.
Just the little things.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what their day is like. But if I could make it a little bit better, that's, again, like you said, they'll pay it forward.
Mhm.
It's all we can be, that catalyst of change. And, one of the funniest things, I went to one of these retreats that I go to, and this was actually one of the catalytic events to take me out of my depression. I'm there. It's about 1 or 2 in the morning. We're all talking, whatever. I make a I don't know, self-defeating joke about, whatever. And this guy, Bob, is like, what's this with the negative self-talk? Is this how you want to see yourself? Is this how you want the world to see you? And he brought that to my attention, and I shifted since then. And that was for him, he took 30 seconds to talk to a guy he didn't know to be like, hey, what are you doing? For me, that changed my life. You never know when taking that 10 seconds, that 20 seconds, that $5
Mm-hmm.
is the catalytic event to connect someone to their humanity. And what does it cost you? Absolutely nothing. You just get more back. So this is part of the choice.
You may even save somebody's life. You go to pick up that cup of coffee and you say something nice like, I don't know what you did, but this coffee's amazing. And by the way, your hair looks great. And thank you. Have a wonderful day. They may be on the brink of something really bad.
Yeah,
And you put a smile and connected.
exactly. It's always at the perfect time. So this is like actually, I believe, the core of the season right now. It's that connecting to that love. That's an expression. All of this is These are the greatest gifts we can give. These are the greatest gifts we can receive because we're giving it to ourselves at the same time.
Different way to look at it, isn't it?
It is. And as an experiment to anyone listening, take $5 if you can spare it. Do something for someone else with it, not someone you don't know.
Mm. Yeah. Yep. And see how you feel.
See how you feel. Just play it from there. It's probably better than Prozac.
Yeah. and you said it beautifully. That's why we're here. But
Yeah.
I believe because of society and perceptions and all, a lot of times we're afraid to do something nice for somebody else because we're viewed as weird, creeper, et cetera, et cetera. Even a nice comment to somebody, we don't do it because we don't want to be judged. It's horrible.
And that's you hit the nail on the head there, Steve. That's what it all is. There's forces that are intentionally there driving us apart, creating wedges, creating divisions.
Mm.
And then obviously, if they're doing it, they have reasons. And our purpose is to bring us together. And without the forces driving us apart, it wouldn't be as rewarding. It actually strengthens that process because of the opposition. And because to do it, we have to overcome this false stigma on interacting with a stranger, on putting ourselves out there, on creating even that hint of vulnerability in ourselves by opening up and being authentic. So it is an incredibly powerful move. And it actually is a muscle that we can build over time to become better and better at being us and at being that light, bringing that joy, that love into the world.
Do you feel that I want a better word for epidemic, but I'm gonna ride on that for a moment. That we have somewhat of an epidemic of addicted to suffering. We're stuck in that. We love that.
So there's a lot of I could talk about this on a ton of different levels. The answer is yes. And it's really, I call it a consistency bias. Let's say someone makes fun of my nose when I'm 6 years old. Now I think I'm ugly. I'm going to do things to sort of protect myself from that, blah, blah, blah. Now I'll carry that for the rest of my life until I choose not to let the world define me. So I'll have habits built to protect myself. Those are really prison walls. So I'm going to suffer. I'm going to hide myself. I'm going to keep myself from being seen. I'm going to go out of my way to actually dim my light, to not interact with the world, to stay in a shell, and to stay sad, depressed, lonely. Because some dumb kid said when I was young. The habit gets built and we don't even know it's there. And then when we see it, oh, wow, I keep holding back. I keep this. Now, why would I want to open up? Because society doesn't teach us that. But if we're not in our authentic self and comfortable expressing it, we're not living our purpose and we'll begin to suffer and we'll suffer more and more and more. So we won't have proper relationships. We won't have self-confidence. We won't be able to give properly. And the habit, even if it hurts us, is familiar. And we will always go with the familiar because it's safe, even if it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. And I relate. I was the big fat kid, got bullied all the time, beat up on the playground, no friends, everybody else's activity period walking around. And I'm like, all right, here I am. If I were to speak to my former self, it would be as a child, I would say, don't ever worry about what people think. It's easier said than done, even as an adult. But I kind of ride that way. It's like, this is me now. I'm good. But it took a long time to get there.
I got it even better. So I wanted to be liked. I was different. I was weird, whatever. And so I tried to be what I thought people wanted. So now I was a phony. So now I'm weird and phony. And no one likes a phony.
Especially ourselves.
Yes.
And we might not even know that we are.
So I wanted to be who I thought people wanted me to be, which made me hate myself. And they didn't like me, which made me hate myself, and they didn't like me.
Very relatable. Yeah, because you just want to be, what do we want? To be liked or loved. So we'll do whatever it takes to get to that point, even if it's not really us, but it's counterproductive. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, just my thought. It's counterproductive because it's going against who you really are. And that hurts. You might not know it hurts.
They always say be yourself, but it's like we don't even know who we are. And that's one of the biggest things I work on. Foundational level work that I do, even in the program online. Everything is based on this. First, we have to begin to love ourselves.
It's a cliche, but it's true. And you don't know it until you know it. And there's a song by Sting. It's called Alien in New York. Englishman in New York. That's what it is. And it's about I'm a legal alien in New York. Like I'm trying to fit in. No, I don't like this. I like toast done, burnt on one side. That's English, Englishman in New York. And there's one line in the song, be yourself, no matter what they say.
Yeah.
And I love it.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
It always stuck with me. It's like, no matter what, be yourself, no matter what they say. Easier said than done, though. And the authenticity, if you don't realize that you're not being authentic, well, how would you know? And we get, we're running out of time here, but how would you know you're not being authentic? I'm not really being me. How would I know?
So this is a huge amount what I do with the somatics and with the hypnosis, but for the layman, it's very, very simple. This is the same thing that I do. You feel it in your body. Lies are held in the body. So if your body feels like hell, if you start developing some weird chronic whatever, you are truly out of sync. Like bad business deal. I made one with a guy, put down a deposit. I owed a lot more. And I was like, oh my God, these people are like not ethical. I shouldn't work with them. They're bad. So I knew I'd have to leave that money on the table. When I finally called up, spoke to him and said, we can't work together, and hung up, I had pain in the back of my neck, and it was gone. The second I hung up the phone, the pain was gone. So when we're not in sync, we will have pain. That's why a huge amount what I do is working to open up those areas of the body, because the truth then has to happen. It releases that holding of the pain. So yeah, if the body hurts, if you're depressed, if you're depressed, you're out of sync with who you are. If you're anxious, you're out of sync with who you are.
And
simple.
Even in that business deal, it's almost like the loop. We're going around in a loop because what are you thinking? You know what? I'm going to stop it as it is. But I'm losing money. You know what? I'm mad. That hurts. That stings. Oh, geez. but you're going to be miserable for that and also for not being authentic. And I've been there too. Know exactly. Every situation is different, but even recently had a partnership with somebody I'm closer to, and then we had different visions of it. And I parted ways, had to make a payment, renegotiated. It was a little dicey there, but we got done. Felt so much better because that wasn't my vision. But here's how the universe came back. Not into detail, it's not worth it. It came back in my favor, and the check I had to write, it was a wash. Mm-hmm. Something else transpired within this whole thing that came into my favor, and I was like, oh wow, well, hey, thanks. It's really cool. It's almost as if that's the way it was supposed to be.
So one of the most powerful things, and I can end with this, it's easy. It's an economic principle. It's a simple one. It's called sunk costs. What that means is if I put a $500 deposit on something and I decide it's trash, am I going to commit more to it? Or am I comfortable saying that is money I've spent, I can walk away from it? Because if I'm going to commit more, it's only going to cost me more. And that at a certain point, we make that discernment in anything in life. It's a sunk cost I've invested, but it's not true to me. And we could try to get back what we can, but we have to be willing to just walk.
Mm. We pay to go to school, don't we?
In a lot of different ways, Steve.
You pay for college. You know, there's even if you get financial aid, there's still expense involved in that. The $500 you just referred to, it's a lesson.
That's tuition. Yes,
that's tuition. You got to look at it that way. And as the day is long, I'll firmly say here the situation I personally described in the last year, and actually there were two separate ones. I learned a lesson.
Yeah,
and that lesson connected to my childhood in that situation. Nothing bad, but I learned a lesson. And I'm happy for it. I can honestly say, like, oh, pattern. Gotcha. There you go. All right.
It's powerful.
It really is. Good stuff today. Very relatable, I think, for all of us. And again, we're not minimizing anybody's hardship and pain, but just maybe suggesting look at something in a different way. And ultimately, you have a choice. You have a choice.
Yeah, and Steve, this really is what I do and what I specialize in. So if anyone has an issue, they can contact me, acceleratedhealingspecialist.com, Chris at Accelerated Healing Specialist, or scarsdalehealth.com, because this is seriously the way a lot of people handle it, overcomplicates it. When you empower yourself, when you really take ownership of your life, because it is your life, then it becomes the greatest thing. You know, here's last thing I promise. I would not wish my journey on another person. It was challenging and it still has its own, but I would not give it up for the world.
I agree with you.
Anyone that's been through it does.
And we've all been through things when we're at a certain point where we figured some things out. I can say that now. I agree with you. If this was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, I mean, I wouldn't even know what you're talking about. And I'm sure many people are watching and listening saying, what are these guys talking about? When you start figuring it out, number one, love yourself. Number two, be yourself, no matter what they say. Things start changing in a good way. Thank you for today. Thank you for your transparency too. Everybody has a story, and I find that we learn from other stories, and learned a lot. As always, I always learn a lot from you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise. All right, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of five, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.